The Odyssey glided silently through the blackness of deep space. Stars stretched in every direction like scattered diamonds on a velvet cloth. Captain Rian Torres sat in the bridge chair, eyes scanning the instruments. Around him the crew moved quietly but efficiently, aware that their mission was unlike any other. They were not simply exploring new planets. They were searching for relics of civilizations older than humanity itself. "Sensor sweep complete," said Lieutenant Kira Matsuo, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Nothing familiar, but there's something unusual about that planet, sir." Ryan leaned forward. The planet appeared ordinary at first glance, a rocky, barren world orbiting a yellow star. But the sensors had picked up something buried beneath its surface, a massive metallic structure, far larger than any natural formation. It had the signature of intelligent design, but unlike anything humans had catalogued. Coordinates locked. "Shall we descend?" Ryan asked. "Already preparing the landing shuttle," replied Chief Engineer Omar Diaz. He rubbed his jaw nervously. "Whatever this is, it's been here a long time. The readings are stable, but old." Dr. Lena Carr, the ship's linguist and communications specialist, hovered over the console beside him. She peered at the data, her green eyes reflecting the pale glow of the screen. "It's emitting faint energy pulses," she said. "Not random. They're patterned, like signals, but nothing our machines can interpret." Ryan nodded. "Let's take a closer look. Prepare a landing team." The shuttle descended through the thin atmosphere, buffeted by winds that swept over jagged mountains. From the air, the team could see the vessel partially buried beneath layers of rock. Its surface was smooth but scarred, with sweeping curves that seemed almost organic. The metallic hull shimmered faintly in the sunlight, reflecting colors that human eyes had no names for. "This is incredible," whispered Lena, her voice barely audible. "It doesn't look built by any species we know." As they approached, the shuttle's scanners tried to interface with the vessel. Holographic commands flickered in the cabin, showing no response. Ryan frowned. "Try again. Use every protocol we have. Let's see if it reacts to AI signals." The ship remained silent. No lights, no movements, no acknowledgement of their presence. Omar's hands flew over the console. "It's like it's waiting for something. Nothing we send is reaching it." Lena stepped closer to the shuttle's opening, instinctively feeling the need to speak aloud. "Hello?" she said softly, almost as if testing the air. The word sounded small in the vastness of the alien world, yet it carried a human warmth that machines could not replicate. Then, as if awakened by her voice, the vessel responded. A section of the hull glided aside, revealing an entrance that seemed impossibly large. Smooth corridors disappeared into darkness, lined with faintly glowing symbols that pulsed in rhythm with Lena's heartbeat. The crew froze. Did that just happen?" Omar asked, his voice trembling with excitement. "It answered." "A human voice," Lena whispered. "Not our machines. Not our signals, only a human voice." Ryan nodded slowly. "All right, team. You heard it. We proceed, but cautiously. This is uncharted territory." The landing party stepped out of the shuttle, their boots crunching over ancient rock. The air was thin and cold, but breathable. Lena led the way, her voice steady despite the shiver of anticipation running down her spine. "Stay close. Watch your surroundings." The corridors of the vessel were wider than any human hallway, and the walls seemed to breathe with soft light. Symbols flickered and changed as they passed, almost as if observing the newcomers. The crew could feel a strange energy in the air, a sense that the ship was alive, not just in function but in consciousness. "Fascinating," Lena murmured. She reached out to touch one of the walls. The symbols rippled under her fingers, forming patterns that resembled no language known to humans. "It's trying to communicate, but in a way we don't yet understand." Omar shook his head. "It's a museum of some lost civilization, isn't it? Or a vault. Either way, we need to be careful. We don't know what security measures it might have." Ryan held up a hand. "We move as a unit. No one goes alone. Stay alert." They moved deeper, the vessel's corridors curving in ways that defied normal architecture. There were no corners, no seams, only flowing lines, as if the ship had grown rather than been built. Every few steps the walls pulsed with light, reacting to their voices, their movements, their very presence. Lena stopped at a chamber with a large circular doorway. The light inside was warmer, almost inviting. She spoke softly, instinctively calling out, "May we enter?" The door swung open silently, revealing a vast chamber filled with floating holographic projections. Stars, planets, and structures hovered in midair. The projections depicted a civilization that had long vanished, cities with towers that touched the clouds, fleets of ships that glided through space, and creatures that seemed both organic and mechanical. The crew gasped. "This is history," Kira breathed. "A civilization that predates humanity by thousands, maybe millions of years." Lena's eyes were wide with wonder. "And it preserved all of it. For us, why humans, though? Why our voices?" The ship responded again, not in words, but in movement. The projections shifted, arranging themselves as if showing Lena something specific. A sequence of star maps, a pattern that led across the galaxy. It was a trail, perhaps, or a warning. Rian studied the maps. This could be a guide to other worlds, or other vessels like this one. It might be showing us where the civilization spread, or what remains of it. Omar frowned. Or it's a trap. Something that's been waiting for humans to arrive. "I don't like the idea of being tested without knowing the rules." Lena shook her head. No, it's not a trap. I can feel it. The ship responds to intention, curiosity, courage, qualities that a human voice carries. It wants us to understand, to learn. As they explored, the vessel began to reveal more. Chambers filled with tools and devices, strange materials, and objects that defied human physics. The crew touched nothing, afraid to trigger a defense system, but the ship allowed them to observe everything. Every object seemed to hum softly, resonating with Lena's voice. Hours passed. They cataloged what they could, trying to understand the purpose of the vessel. The air was electric with anticipation, every member of the team feeling that they were on the edge of a discovery that could change humanity's understanding of the universe. Finally, Lena paused at a console that seemed more advanced than anything they had seen. She spoke a question aloud, her voice steady. "What are you? Who made you?" The console glowed, lights pulsing in response. Symbols rearranged themselves, forming patterns that hinted at communication. It was clear that the vessel recognized her as more than an intruder. It recognized her as someone worthy of dialogue. Rian stepped closer. "We need to be careful, Lena. Whatever it's showing us, we have to make sure we understand it fully. One wrong move." Lena nodded, but her attention was fixed on the glowing symbols. I think it's waiting for us to speak, to guide it. And maybe it's waiting for us to prove ourselves." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The vessel was massive, ancient, and powerful. They had just scratched the surface of what it contained. And yet there was no doubt. This was humanity's discovery. A moment that would be remembered for centuries. Outside, the winds of the alien planet howled across the barren surface, carrying dust and rock over the hidden relic. Inside, the vessel's corridors glowed softly, alive with anticipation. It had been silent for eons, waiting for a voice that only a human could provide. And now that voice had been heard. Rian looked at his team, determination hard in his gaze. "We move forward carefully. This is just the beginning." Lena smiled faintly, a mixture of awe and excitement. She whispered to herself, almost in reverence, "We found you, and we are ready to listen." The Odyssey crew had discovered something extraordinary, something that defied comprehension. The vessel responded only to a human voice, as if it had been waiting through the ages for this very moment. And as they stepped deeper into its mysteries, none of them could guess the journey that awaited. Outside, the planet remained silent, a lonely witness to the awakening of an ancient vessel and to the first human voice that would unlock its secrets. The morning sun bathed Zephora in pale gold, but the palace felt unusually still. Princess Lysera walked through the halls, her mind focused on the lessons she had learned from the human. His stories had stirred a sense of urgency in her, and now she could not ignore it. The safety and future of her people depended on foresight, on understanding what others could not see. Kalen, her loyal aide, followed closely. He had grown used to Lysera's restless curiosity, though even he sensed that this mission was unlike any before. "Your Highness," he said cautiously, "should we call the council? Perhaps we need advisors to consider the possible dangers." Lysera shook her head. "Not yet, Kalen. The human has warned me that preparation is not just about consultation, it is about understanding." Before we involve others, I need to know what we face and how to act wisely. Her decision made, she summoned the covert transport that could take them to the lower city. The streets were quiet, and the transport hovered silently, carrying them down into the forgotten zones. As they moved, Lysra's mind replayed the human's words. The galaxy moves in ways beyond your control. Forces watch, wait, and act. Leadership is knowing when and how to respond. The ruins of the lower city stretched endlessly before them, pale light glinting off broken metal and shattered stone. Each step reminded Lysra that even the mightiest civilizations left traces of their past, lessons hidden in ruins for those who could read them. And then, they saw him. The human stood near a fractured observation tower, holding a device that glowed softly. He looked up as they approached, his dark eyes calm but alert. "You are here," he said simply. "I hoped you would return. There is more you must see." Lysra approached, her steps deliberate. "I am ready," she said. "Tell me what we must prepare for." The human motioned for them to sit on the remains of a stone platform. "You have learned about curiosity, caution, and the lessons of distant civilizations. But now you must learn about vigilance. Zyphora is not as safe as it seems. Threats are approaching, intelligent, patient, and unseen. They observe learning patterns, waiting for opportunity. Your people cannot see them yet, but I can. You must understand their nature." Lysra's mind raced. "Are these threats aliens?" she asked cautiously. The human shook his head. "Not necessarily in the way you imagine. Some are species, some are machines, some are phenomena we do not fully comprehend. The important part is this. Action must be guided by knowledge and careful judgment. Acting too early, or without understanding, can provoke consequences just as dangerous as inaction." Kalen frowned. "But how do we prepare for something we cannot fully see or predict?" Lysra spoke with a new firmness in her voice. "We observe. We gather knowledge. We learn from what the human teaches us. And when the time comes, we act wisely. That is how we protect Zyphora." The human nodded approvingly. "Good. Observation is the first step. But vigilance requires more than watching. It requires thinking beyond the present. You must anticipate, understand motives, and recognize what others might overlook." He paused, then activated the glowing device in his hand. A holographic map of nearby star systems appeared, faintly pulsing in the twilight. Small points of light moved across the display, representing ships, energy signatures, and planets. Lysra's eyes widened. She had never seen the universe represented this way, not with such clarity and subtlety. "Do you see this, Princess?" the human asked. "These points are not threats yet, but they are potentialities. Some will act, some will remain distant. Your role is to understand which will affect Zyphora, which can be ignored, and which must be addressed before it is too late." Lysra leaned forward, her eyes scanning the map. "How can I know which is which?" The human's gaze met hers. Experience, observation, and reasoning. Humans rely on intuition, patterns, and learning from history. Zyphorans are careful, structured, and rule-bound. That is an advantage and a limitation. You must combine both approaches to see clearly. He highlighted one cluster of moving lights. These signals are approaching Zyphora slowly, almost imperceptibly. To the untrained eye, they would seem harmless, but they carry intelligence and intent. You must watch them carefully. You must understand their patterns before making a choice. Lysra studied the cluster, her mind working quickly. "And if they reach us?" The human's eyes darkened. "Then decisions must be made swiftly and wisely. Remember the lessons of Arvion and other civilizations. Acting without understanding can destroy more than it saves. But failing to act can be equally dangerous. Leadership is choosing wisely, even when the correct choice is uncertain." Kalen whispered, almost in awe. "This is more than I imagined. The universe is so much larger than we believed." Lysera nodded. And that is why we cannot wait. Knowledge is our greatest tool. We must learn, understand, and prepare, but we must also be patient. Patience is strength. The human regarded her with a mixture of respect and curiosity. You understand far more than most rulers would at your age. Many would panic. Many would seek immediate action. You do not. That is promising. But the path ahead is not simple. Your choices, every decision you make, will ripple far beyond Xiphora. He then stood, his gaze sweeping the ruins around them. There is another lesson, Princess. Leadership is not just about protecting people, it is about inspiring them, guiding them, and ensuring they can act wisely themselves. You cannot carry the weight alone. You must teach others, gain their trust, and prepare them for the possibilities. Only then can a civilization survive threats that even the strongest technology cannot defend against. Lysera felt the enormity of the task. She was no longer thinking of stories or curiosity alone. She was thinking of her people, of their safety, and of her responsibility as a future leader. She understood that courage alone would not be enough. Wisdom, observation, and the ability to inspire others would be her true weapons. The human's voice softened, almost as if he were passing a personal truth to her. Humans are fragile, yes, but we are also remarkable. We adapt, we innovate, and we learn. That is why we survive where others fail. Xiphora has great technology and strong traditions, but it must also learn to adapt. That is why I am here. Lysera nodded. Then teach me, show me how to understand, how to anticipate, and how to lead. The human smiled faintly. Very well. But understand this, Princess. Knowledge is a tool, not a shield. Courage is important, but it is not enough. And curiosity is a flame. It can illuminate paths or burn everything you hold dear. Use it wisely. For the rest of the afternoon they walked through the ruins, studying patterns in old machinery, analyzing the movement of energy fields, and observing the signs of previous civilizations' mistakes. Lysera absorbed every lesson, asking questions, thinking deeply, and reflecting on what she learned. Kaelin followed closely, sometimes hesitating, sometimes amazed at the depth of insight the human offered. By evening, as the twin moons rose high above the city, Lysera understood something profound. Leadership was not just about decision-making, bravery, or strength. It was about foresight, observation, patience, and the ability to inspire others to think beyond themselves. It was about seeing possibilities that others could not, and guiding people through challenges without causing unnecessary harm. The human paused, looking out over the ruined city. You have learned much today, Princess. But remember, the galaxy does not wait. Forces are moving. You must continue to learn, to observe, and to prepare. Your choices will matter, not just for you, but for everyone under your care. Lysera's eyes shone with determination. I understand, and I will act wisely. I will prepare, I will guide, and I will protect my people. The human's expression softened. Then you are ready to take the next step. But beware. The challenges ahead will test your courage, your wisdom, and your ability to act when the time is right. Xiphora is safe now, but that will not last. You must be ready. As they returned to the palace, Lysera felt a mixture of anticipation and resolve. She understood that the path ahead would be difficult, that every decision carried weight, and that the lessons of distant civilizations were not just stories. They were warnings, maps, and guides. And she was ready to follow them, to lead her people and to face the challenges that the universe had in store. The sky above Xiphora had darkened into a deep indigo, streaked with silver from the rising twin moons. Princess Lysera stood at the balcony of her palace, her violet eyes scanning the horizon. The lessons of the human echoed in her mind, lessons of curiosity, patience, vigilance, and wisdom. Yet a tension had settled over the city, quiet but undeniable. Something approached, a force unseen yet sensed, testing the readiness of Xiphora and its people. Kaelin approached her quietly. Princess, he said softly. The sensors have detected unusual activity near the outer orbit, ships or perhaps something else. It is unlike anything we've seen before. They are moving cautiously but steadily towards Zephora. Lysera's heart tightened but her face remained calm. Then we act. But carefully. Observe first, then choose wisely. The human has taught me that action without understanding can be as dangerous as inaction. Kaelin nodded, seeing the determination in her eyes. Very well, Princess. What shall we do? Lysera turned and spoke with quiet authority. We gather the advisors. We prepare the defenses, but we also study the patterns. We must understand the approach before deciding how to respond. The safety of Zephora depends not on fear, but on wisdom. In the council chamber, ministers and generals gathered, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. Lysera stood at the center, her presence commanding attention. She shared what she had learned from the human, carefully describing the unseen threat, the patterns in their approach, and the importance of understanding before acting. Many were skeptical. Your Highness, one minister said, we have never faced such a threat. How can you ask us to wait and observe? We should act immediately. Lysera's gaze was steady. Immediate action without understanding is reckless. I have learned that wisdom is more valuable than speed. We will prepare, but we will also watch, learn, and plan. This is how Zephora will survive. The council murmured among themselves, some reluctantly agreeing, others still hesitant. Kaelin whispered, Your Highness, do you truly believe we can control the outcome by observing? Lysera nodded. We cannot control everything, Kaelin, but we can influence the future by learning, preparing, and acting wisely. That is our responsibility. Meanwhile, the human waited in the lower city, observing Zephora through discrete monitoring systems. When Lysera visited him, she found him reviewing the patterns of the approaching forces. Princess, he said, they are cautious, intelligent, and patient. They are testing Zephora, seeking weaknesses. Do not be alarmed by their calm. Calm can hide great danger. Lysera nodded. Then we prepare and we wait. I have told the council to observe, study, and plan. Patience is our strength. The human studied her with quiet approval. You have learned much, Princess. But the true test comes when action is required. Knowledge is not enough. Courage, judgment, and the ability to inspire others will be essential. Zephora's survival depends on it. Lysera's resolve hardened. Then we will be ready. And when the time comes, we will act decisively, but wisely. Days passed as Zephora's citizens went about their routines, unaware of the approaching danger. Lysera and the human, along with Kaelin, continued to study the movements beyond the planet. Patterns emerged. The approaching ships or machines were testing Zephora's defenses, probing and retreating, learning as they moved. Princess, the human said, they are not mindless. They adjust to our observations. This is a challenge of intellect as well as preparedness. Zephora must respond thoughtfully, not only with technology but with strategy, creativity, and insight. Humans excel at this because we think in possibilities rather than rules. Lysera smiled faintly. Then we think in possibilities. We will adapt, innovate, and protect our people. That is what the human has shown me. Kaelin added cautiously. It will not be easy, Princess. The citizens may panic if they sense the threat. We must guide them carefully. Lysera nodded. We guide, we inform selectively, and we act decisively when the time comes. Patience, observation, wisdom, and courage. These are our tools. Finally, the moment arrived. A fleet of advanced vessels appeared in Zephora's orbit, their design sleek, almost organic, moving with intelligence. Sensors detected energy fluctuations, communication signals, and unknown patterns that made even the most advanced Zephoran technology pause. The council gathered, fear and uncertainty written on their faces. But Lysera stood calm, her mind focused on what she had learned from the human. She raised her hand and silence fell. We know them, she said, her voice steady. They are intelligent, patient, and cautious. They are testing us. We will not panic. We will observe, understand, and act wisely. Our strength lies not only in our technology, but in our judgment and unity. Zephora can face this because we are prepared and we will act as one. The council looked at her, some skeptical, others inspired. Kaelin whispered, Your Highness, they are closer than we expected. Will patience be enough? Lysera's violet eyes met his. Patience is not an action. It is preparation. And when the time comes, we will act decisively. In the lower city, the human observed alongside her, They are testing Zephora's resolve, he said. Observe how the people react. Observe how leaders respond. Intelligence is not only in machines or strategy. It is in understanding, adapting, and inspiring others. This is your true test, Princess. Lysera nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. She realized that leadership was more than planning or caution. It was seeing the unseen, guiding the uncertain, and making decisions that could ripple across time. As the alien fleet continued to orbit, small anomalies appeared in Zephora's sensor grids. Ships seemed to disappear and reappear, testing the planet's energy shields and scanning communication arrays. Panic threatened to spread among the Council, but Lysera maintained calm. She directed operations with precision, assigning teams to observe patterns, adjust defenses, and prepare contingencies. Notice their patterns, she instructed. Adapt your strategy. Learn what they are probing and respond thoughtfully. We do not attack blindly. We act with wisdom. Kaelin marveled at her composure. Princess, you are not acting like a ruler of a single planet. You are thinking like a leader of an entire galaxy. Lysera's lips curved in a small smile. Perhaps that is what humans have taught me. The courage to observe, the patience to understand, and the wisdom to act decisively when it matters. The human approached her once more. Princess, they have now tested the outer defenses. The moment of action approaches. You must inspire your people to act together, to trust in their own skill and judgment. Knowledge and courage are meaningless without cooperation. Lysera nodded. Then we act as one. Zephora is stronger when we are united, and we will show them that strength, intelligence, and courage belong not only to machines, but to the people who wield them wisely. The fleet made its first decisive move. One vessel descended toward the planet, testing shields with energy bursts. Zephora's systems responded efficiently, absorbing the impacts and analyzing the vessel's technology. The Council watched in awe as Princess Lysera calmly directed defenses, adjusted strategies, and guided teams to anticipate the next move. The shields are holding, she said, but do not grow complacent. Watch patterns, adjust tactics, and be ready. Courage without understanding is dangerous. Strategy without adaptation is useless. We must combine both, the human observed silently, impressed. You have learned well, Princess. Not just observation, but adaptation, leadership, and inspiration. This is the true measure of strength. As the battle continued, Zephora's citizens, guided by Princess Lysera's calm leadership, began to coordinate efforts across the planet. Energy distribution, communications, and repair teams worked efficiently, inspired by her clarity and decisiveness. The alien vessels tested, probed, and retreated, unable to find weakness in the planet or its people. Lysera watched, her heart steady, her mind focused. She realized that the humans' lessons had prepared her for this moment, not only to survive, but to lead, inspire, and demonstrate the strength of human-like courage combined with Zephoran wisdom. Finally, after hours of careful maneuvering, the alien fleet retreated, recognizing that Zephora was prepared, united, and resilient. The sensors showed the energy shields intact, communication arrays unharmed, and the people calm yet alert. Kaelin turned to Lysera, eyes wide with awe. Princess, we did it. You led us through the storm. Lysera smiled, not with triumph, but with quiet understanding. We did it together. The human showed me that courage, knowledge, and wisdom are tools, but the people make the difference. Our unity, our preparation, and our choices protected Zephora today. The human appeared at her side, a faint smile on his face. You have learned more than I could have expected. Curiosity, patience, observation, and courage, they guided you. Zephora is safe and its people stronger because of your leadership. Lysera's eyes glimmered with determination. The universe is vast and Zephora is small. But we are ready. With knowledge, courage, and unity, we can face whatever comes next. The twin moons rose high above, reflecting silver light over the towers. Princess Lysera looked at them and whispered, "Thank you for the lessons, the stories, and the guidance. We will not forget them," the human nodded, fading back into the shadows of the lower city, leaving her with the knowledge that she had grown, not just as a princess, but as a leader, a thinker, and a protector of her people. The deeper the Odyssey crew ventured into the vessel, the more alive it felt. The walls pulsed with a soft, rhythmic light, almost like the heartbeat of a living being. Lena Carr led the way, her voice calm and steady as she called out greetings or asked questions. Each word seemed to awaken new reactions. The corridor lights shimmered, symbols shifted, and holographic maps appeared in midair, floating like tiny stars in a dark sky. This place. It's incredible, whispered Kira Matsuo, her eyes reflecting the glowing symbols. It's like walking inside a memory of a civilization long gone. Omar Diaz ran his hands along a smooth wall. It's not just old technology, it's alive in a way. I don't understand how, but it reacts to humans like it knows us. Like it trusts us, Rian Torres nodded. Then we treat it with respect. Every move we make matters. If it can judge us, it will. And we don't want to make a mistake. They entered a larger chamber where the air felt warmer and the light brighter. Holographic projections filled the space. Cities, fleets of ships, and landscapes that seemed impossible to build. Towering structures of metal and crystal floated above vast plains. Ships glided through skies that were alive with energy. Lena's eyes widened as she spoke softly. These are not human worlds. This is evidence of an ancient species, older than us. Maybe older than any humans could imagine. The vessel responded immediately, sending a stream of light toward Lena. The symbols rearranged themselves, forming what she realized were instructions, or at least guidance. It's showing me how to interact, she said, moving her hands slowly through the projections. It wants us to learn, not just explore. Omar frowned. Learn or test? You said this ship only answers to humans. Maybe it's evaluating us. That might be exactly it, Lena replied. She studied a floating map of stars and planets. Some of the stars glowed brighter than others, as if marking a path. Look at this. It's giving us directions, like a trail. I think it wants to tell us a story. Or a warning. Ryan stepped closer, studying the projections. If it's a warning, it could be about something dangerous in this galaxy. Something this species faced and maybe failed against. That would explain why the vessel has been preserved for so long, waiting for someone to understand and act. The crew felt a mix of awe and unease. The realization settled in that this vessel held knowledge humanity had never imagined. It was not just a ship. It was a library, a guide, and a guardian of wisdom that had survived countless millennia. Lena experimented further, speaking commands aloud. The ship responded each time, activating new projections. Holographic displays of star systems, energy fields, and strange celestial objects unfolded before them. Some were recognizable as stars and planets in their own galaxy. Others were completely foreign, with swirling energies and glowing rings. Captain, Kira said, pointing at one of the projections. These are star systems that humans haven't discovered yet. It's giving us a map of the unknown galaxy. Ryan studied it carefully. Maps are valuable, but this seems more than just directions. Look at the patterns. It's like a history, showing the rise and fall of civilizations. It's teaching us, maybe even preparing us, Omar's brow furrowed. Teaching humans? I don't know if I like that. What if it expects us to do something dangerous? Lena shook her head slowly. It's not threatening us. I can feel it. Through our voices, through the way it responds, it wants us to understand and act wisely. It's assessing our curiosity, our caution, our courage. That's why it only responds to humans. Machines and AI are limited. They don't carry intention or emotion. This vessel wants intent, humanity's intent. As they moved through the chamber, the vessel activated a series of smaller rooms connected to it. Each room seemed designed to teach, test, or guide. One contained a holographic representation of a starship, showing every detail of its construction. Another displayed an entire ecosystem, with creatures that had evolved in ways human science could only theorize. Lena realized the vessel was trying to share knowledge of life, technology, and survival. Hours passed as they explored. Sometimes the vessel reacted unexpectedly. Corridors shifted, projections rearranged, and lights blinked in patterns that seemed like warnings. Each time Lena spoke to it, and the responses became more coherent, as if the ship understood not just her words, but her tone and intention. It's learning from us, she said quietly. Not just responding, but learning. It knows we're capable of more than machines or AI could ever do. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we proceed carefully. We have to respect its lessons and each other. If it's teaching, we need to be ready to learn everything it has to offer. The vessel suddenly projected a new scene, an image of a planet under attack. Swirling clouds of energy consumed everything in sight, devouring structures, ships, and even life itself. The crew stared, horrified. Lena's voice trembled slightly as she spoke. Is this a warning? A record of what happened to them? The vessel responded, projecting lines of light that formed paths through the galaxy. It's showing us the threat, Lena realized. Whatever happened to this civilization, it could happen again. And maybe it's telling us humans are capable of stopping it. Omar swallowed hard. You mean humanity might be responsible for preventing this? Yes, Lena said. Her voice grew firmer as she addressed the ship. If you are giving us this knowledge, then we must learn it fully. Show us what we need to do. The vessel responded with a cascade of holograms, star maps, unknown technologies, and strange energy fields. The crew could see entire fleets designed to travel faster than light, defensive shields capable of protecting worlds, and weapon systems that seemed more like tools for protection than destruction. This is beyond anything humanity has ever imagined, Rian said, awe in his voice. We have the knowledge of an entire lost civilization, preserved for us, and it trusts humans to use it wisely. Lena traced her hand over one projection. It's not just about the technology. It's about understanding, about intention. It wants to see if humans are ready to face challenges we haven't even imagined yet. Suddenly, one projection shifted. It showed Earth, small and fragile among the stars. A pulse of light moved outward, connecting lines to other worlds, other star systems. The vessel was guiding them to a purpose, but what that purpose was, they did not yet know. Ryan's eyes narrowed. It's asking something of us. A responsibility, not just to explore, but to act. Humanity may have a role in the galaxy that we never realized. Kira nodded slowly. And it's choosing us, this crew, humans, to be the ones to carry that role. It only answers to our voices because it recognizes our ability to decide, to think, to feel. Machines could never do what it's asking of us. As the crew absorbed the magnitude of the discovery, Lena spoke softly, almost to herself. We're standing on the edge of history. Not just human history, but galactic history. And this ship, it's the key. Ryan placed a firm hand on the railing of the chamber, looking at his team. Then we need to understand everything. Learn what it's trying to teach. And prepare ourselves. This vessel didn't awaken for nothing. The ship seemed to respond in kind, glowing brighter as if acknowledging their commitment. Symbols moved rhythmically along the walls, reflecting the trust it now placed in them. Lena felt a sense of connection she could not explain, almost as if the vessel recognized humanity's potential and was willing to share its knowledge with those who were ready to listen. Hours passed as the crew cataloged every projection, every symbol, every piece of knowledge they could absorb. They moved as one, careful and respectful, yet filled with wonder. The vessel, ancient and silent for eons, had found its first human voice, and through it had begun to reveal its secrets. Rian finally called for a pause. We need to rest and process what we've learned so far. This is only the beginning. The ship is guiding us, but the journey will be long and probably dangerous. Lena nodded, her mind racing. I understand. But I also feel it's teaching us because it believes in humans, in us, and we can't let it down. Omar exhaled, rubbing his tired eyes. Well, if it's going to trust us, we better be ready for whatever comes next. This is more than a discovery. It's a responsibility. As night fell over the alien planet, the Odyssey shuttle rested near the vessel. Inside, the corridors glowed faintly, alive with the pulse of history, knowledge, and purpose. The ship had been waiting for eons for a human voice, and now it had found one. And that voice had awakened possibilities beyond imagination. Outside, the winds howled across jagged rocks, carrying dust and the faint hum of the ancient vessel. Inside, the crew of the Odyssey began to understand that they were no longer just explorers. They were students of a civilization that had once touched the stars, and perhaps the first hope for humanity to join a destiny far larger than themselves. The crew of the Odyssey stood in the central chamber of the vessel, the vast dome of light glowing around them like a star-filled sky. Every holographic star, every line of energy, every projection seemed alive, pulsing in harmony with their presence. Lena Carr stepped forward, her heart pounding. She had felt the weight of the vessel's expectations, the responsibility of the cosmic message it had entrusted to humanity. Now it was time for them to act. Captain Rian Torres looked at his team. We've learned everything it can teach us. We've faced its trials. We understand the stakes. Now it's up to us to show that humanity is ready. Omar Diaz shifted nervously. Ready or not, I guess we don't have much choice. If this vessel has been waiting for us for millennia, we can't turn back now. Kira Matsuo placed a hand on Omar's shoulder. We have to trust ourselves. That's what the vessel has been teaching us all along. Courage, intelligence, unity, and the heart to make the right decisions. Lena took a deep breath. We've followed its guidance. We've seen the void swarm and the destruction it caused, and now we speak not just to command but to lead. She stepped toward the central console. Her voice was steady, filled with conviction. We accept this responsibility. Humanity will rise. We will protect life. We will unite the galaxy against the threat. The vessel responded immediately. A wave of light expanded outward, enveloping the chamber. Holographic symbols glowed brighter than ever before, rearranging themselves into intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with understanding. The ship recognized their resolve, not just their words, but their intention and courage. It's reacting, Lena said, awe in her voice. It's acknowledging our commitment. It trusts us, Rian nodded. Then let's show it what humanity can do. The vessel projected a series of holographic scenarios, each one more complex than the last. Entire star systems teetered on the edge of collapse. Energy fields threatened to destabilize planets, and fleets of enemy vessels, or perhaps more accurately, manifestations of the void swarm, moved relentlessly across space. The crew studied each scenario, planning strategies, assigning roles, and determining the best use of the vessel's knowledge and technology. This is what it was preparing us for, Lena said. All the tests, all the lessons, they led to this. We have the tools and we have the wisdom to use them. The first challenge was a simulation of a planet under direct attack. Lena guided the crew, her voice calm and authoritative. Ryan, deploy the shields. Kira, stabilize the orbit. Omar, redirect energy flows to the defense matrix. The holographic planet responded. Energy shields flickering to life, stabilizing the atmosphere and repelling the incoming tendrils of the void swarm. Lena's voice carried through the chamber. Each command precise, each instruction weighted with the confidence the vessel had nurtured in them. When the simulation ended successfully, the vessel pulsed with approval. Light cascaded across the walls, creating a kaleidoscope of energy patterns that reflected the crew's achievement. Lena realized that this was more than practice. It was the vessel confirming that humanity could wield its knowledge effectively. We're ready, Ryan said quietly, a mix of pride and determination in his tone. We can take this knowledge, these strategies, and act. We can lead the galaxy in ways that no one else could. The vessel then displayed a more complex simulation. Multiple star systems under threat, alien civilizations in chaos, and the void swarm advancing faster than they had anticipated. Lena understood that this was the ultimate test, a simulation not just of strategy but of judgment, courage, and unity under pressure. This is it, she whispered. Everything we've learned. We apply it now. The crew divided responsibilities, coordinating with precision. Lena's voice was the anchor, guiding the team through the complex sequences of energy flows, fleet movements, and planetary defenses. Ryan gave orders with clarity and confidence, while Kira monitored systems and recalibrated defenses, ensuring every decision was accurate. Omar managed the energy redistribution, channeling the vessel's advanced technology to amplify their efforts. Together, they moved with the efficiency of a single mind, yet each voice retained its individuality, its humanity. The vessel responded to them, amplifying their commands, transforming their intent into action that could influence entire star systems. Hours passed in the simulation, and the crew faced numerous trials. The void swarm seemed relentless, adaptive, and intelligent, yet the human combination of courage, reasoning, and empathy allowed them to anticipate its moves. They made sacrifices, adjusted strategies, and protected vulnerable civilizations. Lena's voice remained steady, conveying authority, reassurance, and hope. Finally, the simulation reached its conclusion. The holographic galaxy stabilized. Star systems that had been threatened shone with renewed energy. The void swarm receded, unable to break the defenses humans had established. The vessel's light pulsed in rhythm, almost like a heartbeat signaling recognition and approval. We did it, Omar breathed, barely able to believe what they had accomplished. We actually did it. Yes, Lena said, smiling faintly. We proved it. Humanity is capable. We can protect life, unite civilizations, and act wisely against threats no one else could face. Ryan placed a firm hand on the central console. The vessel has trusted us. Now it is ours to use, not as masters but as stewards. Humanity has been given a chance to lead, to guide, to preserve life across the stars. The vessel responded with a surge of light that filled the entire chamber. A central map appeared, showing not only the location of other ancient vessels but also star systems rich with civilizations, energy sources, and opportunities for alliance. The ship had given humanity a path forward, a network to prepare and unite. "This is incredible," Kira said, staring at the holographic display. "We have the tools to reach every civilization it showed us. We can build alliances, share knowledge, and prevent the void swarm from ever spreading again." Lena nodded, and it all began with our voices. The ship waited for humans, listened to us, and judged our intentions. That's why it responded only to us. We proved we were worthy, not just smart, but capable of compassion, courage, and wisdom. Ryan's voice was quiet, but resolute. "Then we take this responsibility seriously. We don't just explore anymore, we lead, we protect. Humanity is no longer a single species on a single planet. We are guardians of life across the stars." The vessel pulsed again, and Lena felt a connection she could not describe. It was as if the ship recognized not just the crew, but all of humanity, the potential, the strength, and the heart that could rise to meet any challenge. Outside, the alien planet remained silent, a witness to the culmination of a journey that had begun with a single human voice. Inside, the vessel had fully awakened, entrusting humanity with knowledge, strategy, and a purpose far beyond anything they had imagined. Lena stepped back, speaking softly to the vessel. "We will honor your trust. We will act wisely, courageously, and with compassion. Humanity will rise to this challenge, and we will not fail." The ship responded with a glow that filled the chamber, illuminating the crew in radiant light. Symbols formed patterns across the walls, almost like a message of encouragement. "We have waited for you. Now rise," Ryan turned to his team, eyes shining. "Then we rise. Together, humanity will answer the call." As they prepared to leave the chamber, the vessel projected a final map, a network of ancient vessels, star systems, and civilizations waiting for human voices to awaken them. Lena understood the significance. This was not just a mission. It was a legacy. Humanity was now the beacon of hope, capable of connecting civilizations and defending life itself. Outside, the planet's winds whispered across jagged rocks. Inside, the Odyssey crew felt the weight and wonder of history, knowledge, and responsibility. The ancient vessel, silent for millennia, had finally found the voice it had been waiting for, and humanity had answered. The journey ahead would be long, filled with challenges and marked by uncertainty. But the crew of the Odyssey now understood their place in the galaxy. They were not merely explorers, they were guardians, leaders, and hope for countless worlds. And as the vessel hummed in recognition, Lena smiled faintly. She could almost hear its voice whispering across the stars. "We have been waiting for you." Humanity's answer had begun,